after construction workers discovered an unexploded World War II bomb on Christmas morning.
This is the hole where the MP40 just came out. These two MP40 magazines just came out.
Time tried to erase them. Nature covered their tracks. But some stories don't stay buried. Deep in the Kakakota jungle, a forgotten battlefield. Beneath Paris, a dormant bomb is waiting in silence.
This is after an unexploded bomb from the Second World War was discovered overnight near tracks just outside of central Paris.
And along a shrinking river, war remnants rise from the mud. These places weren't meant to be found, but they resurfaced anyway. Stick around as we uncover the untouched World War II battlefields that caught even historians off guard.
Nearly 200 unexploded bombs from World War II have been found buried under a children's playground in northern England.
Soldier uncovers forgotten war zone.
The lost battlefield above Eora Creek was finally located after having been swallowed up by the jungle.
While most thought it lost forever, one soldier's grit and instinct cracked open a forgotten chapter of World War II, revealing a brutal battlefield untouched for decades. While trekking deep into the jungles of Papua New Guinea, former Australian soldier Brian Freeman stumbled onto something jaw-dropping.
In the jungles of New Guinea, outnumbered and outgunned, Australian soldiers fought a series of pitched battles along the Kakakota track.
A completely untouched World War II battlefield, hidden for nearly 70 years. Helmets, mortar shells, and bullets were scattered like the fighting had only stopped yesterday. The jungle had done a perfect job of locking it away, nature's version of a time capsule. Historians had been chasing this lost section of the Kakakota track campaign for decades. But without fancy gear or a massive search team, Freeman found it using pure grit and instinct. His discovery sent shockwaves through the history world.
The most recent revelation has been the identification of strong evidence that an Australian soldier.
This wasn't some forgotten skirmish. It was the site of one of the bloodiest, most hard-fought battles between Australian and Japanese forces during World War II. A brutal showdown in some of the harshest terrain on Earth.
It was an unbelievable, unacceptable situation that the commander didn't understand what was going on and could even think of talking to his troops in that way.
Uncovering it gives us a raw, rare window into a chapter of the Kakakota campaign most had given up on ever finding. It's a reminder, not all of history is gone. Some parts are just hiding, waiting for someone bold enough to uncover them. If this hidden battlefield amazed you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this video and let others uncover history's secrets too, while we continue. The lost fighter jet of Dresden. Buried under decades of silence, a forgotten Nazi jet just resurfaced like a ghost with unfinished business. Near Dresden in the Netherlands, what started as a routine dig turned into a full-on time capsule from World War II. Workers were just going about their day when they hit something solid. What they uncovered? Wreckage from a Messerschmitt 262, the world's first operational jet fighter.
Well, the Messerschmitt 262, in my opinion, was the most formidable fighter of World War II.
Yeah, that jet. The one that had Allied pilots seriously sweating. The Messerschmitt 262 was a monster in the sky, so fast it could outrun just about anything. But in the final stretch of the war, one went down and completely vanished into the countryside, swallowed by the earth like it was never even there. Here's the crazy part. They found major parts still intact. Engine components, landing gear, even pieces of the cockpit, untouched for nearly 80 years. That's not just rare, that's next level. Now historians are diving in, piecing together the story and geeking out over the tech that almost changed the entire air war. Pretty wild, right? Makes you wonder what else is hiding just beneath our feet, waiting to be found. World War II shipwreck exposed.
1941, 2 British capital ships arrived at Singapore, the front line of a full-scale Japanese attack.
You'd think that after 80 years, every major World War II relic would have been found and preserved by now, right? Not even close. Off the coast of Malaysia, authorities recently intercepted a Chinese barge loaded with stolen artifacts, ripped straight from the ocean floor. Among the haul, over 100 rusted artillery shells believed to have come from British warships sunk in 1941. But these weren't just forgotten wrecks. These were war graves. sacred underwater tombs for hundreds of sailors who died in battle. And now, they're being looted for scrap metal. The discovery has sent shockwaves through the historical and archaeological communities. For decades, experts have worked to protect these sites, only to find out entire shipwrecks are quietly being dismantled, right under everyone's noses. Here's the scary part. With today's advanced deep-sea technology, looters can raid wrecks faster and deeper than ever before, leaving barely a trace. What used to take weeks now happens in hours. It's large-scale theft of our shared history, and we're just now realizing how widespread it is. In response, Malaysia has launched a full-scale investigation, but experts are warning, if this continues unchecked, we risk losing irreplaceable World War II relics and the untold stories they carry forever. One hidden battlefield just came to light, but how many more are disappearing before we even know they existed? World War II bomb. 1 minute you're scanning the sand for coins, the next, you've found a World War II bomb hiding under your flip-flops. One metal detector enthusiast was just casually scanning the sands when he stumbled onto something that made him stop dead in his tracks. An actual unexploded World War II bomb buried just beneath the surface. This wasn't some random scrap. It had been quietly hiding there for decades, right under everyone's noses. As soon as the bomb was spotted, police rushed in and quickly cordoned off the area. No one was taking any chances. Bomb squads were called in, and the entire beach was shut down while experts carefully handled the situation. Just imagine showing up for a chill day by the water, only to get hit with a full-scale evacuation. It turns out, during World War II, this part of England took some heavy hits. Leftover explosives aren't exactly uncommon, but finding one just lying out in the open like that, that's a total bombshell moment, no pun intended. Thankfully, authorities were able to safely remove and detonate the bomb without anyone getting hurt. Still, it's wild to think about how much hidden danger might be lurking right beneath our feet, in places we all assume are perfectly safe. Makes you look at a day at the beach in a whole new light. Texas oil workers. What began as a standard land check quickly escalated into something unexpected. Surveyors were just out scouting land for oil when they stumbled upon something straight out of the past. Unexploded World War II training bombs buried deep beneath their feet. The crew was doing their usual check when they hit some strange metal objects in the dirt. One quick call to the authorities later, and bomb experts confirmed the wild truth. These were leftover practice bombs from when the area served as a military training ground back in the 1940s. No big deal. Just decades-old explosives chilling right under their boots.
During World War II, there is still thousands of unexploded ordnance in this city.
Once they realized what they were dealing with, the site was locked down immediately. Bomb squads moved in fast, securing the area before anyone got hurt. Honestly, that had to be one heart-stopping day on the job. It turns out, during World War II, huge stretches of West Texas were used for pilot training, dropping practice bombs across the open desert. Over time, the land just swallowed them up, keeping those dangerous relics hidden for decades. This time, thankfully, no one was injured, and the bombs were safely removed. But it does make you wonder, how many more forgotten pieces of history are still buried out there, just waiting to resurface and shake things up? Underwater graveyard of Saipan. Beneath the calm, shimmering waters off Saipan, a haunting secret has been hiding in plain sight for decades. Recently, divers uncovered an entire battlefield resting silently on the ocean floor, an eerie underwater graveyard filled with tanks, planes, landing craft, and wrecked ships, all left behind from one of World War II's deadliest battles.
We're going to head out to a Sherman tank from World War II. See, it's out there.
Some of the wreckage looks frozen in time, barely touched since the brutal clash of 1944. At first, the site feels almost peaceful, but the deeper you dive, the more you sense something else. The heavy silence, the wreckage whispering stories of chaos, courage, and sacrifice. Every rusted shell, every shattered wing tells a story, a powerful reminder that this was once a war zone where thousands fought and thousands more fell. Historians always suspected Saipan's waters held remnants of the past, but no one expected a battlefield this vast and remarkably preserved. It's as if the ocean itself took on the role of guardian, locking away these memories beneath the waves. Now protected as part of the Maritime Heritage Trail, this site demands more than curiosity. It demands respect, because it's not just about the machines left behind. It's about the lives they carried, the stories they represent. And here's the chilling truth. Experts believe there could be even more wreckage lying deeper still, hidden by time, waiting for someone brave enough to bring their stories back to the surface. Wreck of the Dancing Mouse. She vanished without a trace in 1942. Now, the USS Edsall has finally been found.
We're going to be talking about the wreck of USS Edsall and how cool it is that we finally found that ship.
For nearly 80 years, the USS Edsall was lost to the depths, a ship swallowed by war and time, with no clue about where she went down. Now, explorers scanning the vast Indian Ocean have finally found her resting place. Scattered across the seafloor, the wreckage tells a powerful story of a fierce last stand. The Edsall, nicknamed the Dancing Mouse for her quick and unpredictable maneuvers, fought valiantly until the very end against overwhelming Japanese firepower. In March of 1942, after a brutal chase and relentless attacks, the Edsall vanished from sight. Until now, historians only had fragments of her story. But pieces of the ship, twisted gun turrets, torn hull sections, show just how intense that final battle was. Seeing the wreck changes everything. It's not just rusted metal, it's a frozen moment in time, etched with courage, sacrifice, and heartbreak. Researchers were stunned at how much of the ship's story could still be read from the scattered wreckage. It's a powerful reminder that even in loss, there's a legacy that refuses to be forgotten. Not every battlefield is on land. Some remain hidden beneath the waves, carrying the voices of those who never made it home. And now, after decades of silence, the Edsall is finally speaking again. 4,700 World War II relics uncovered. What would go through your mind if you found out that thousands of explosives had been lying hidden just beneath your feet for almost 80 years? That's exactly what happened on the Westerplatte Peninsula, where a team of sappers uncovered over 4,700 World War II explosives and artifacts, hidden there since the very start of the war. This peninsula, famous as the place where Poland first resisted the German invasion in 1939, still carries the scars of battle. But no one expected to find this many deadly relics packed deep into the soil. Mines, grenades, artillery shells, even personal gear lost in the chaos of combat were all buried and waiting to be discovered. Step by step, crews carefully worked through the danger, clearing ground that could have exploded without warning at any moment. Even after all these decades, these weapons hadn't lost their deadly edge. Historians have always known Westerplatte was sacred ground, but the sheer scale of what lay hidden beneath the surface left everyone completely stunned. Each artifact pulled from the earth tells a brutal story of sacrifice, survival, and a fight against impossible odds. The battlefield may have fallen silent long ago, but its secrets were just waiting for the right moment to resurface. Get ready for today's mystic topic. Historians are baffled by the sight of decaying bones and shattered gear, frozen in time deep within the jungle's heart. How could something this massive stay buried for so long? Every rusted helmet and crumbling uniform tells a silent story of courage and tragedy. Could this be the missing piece that finally fills gaps in wartime records? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The spectral soldiers of Kakovka. When the waters of the Kakovka Dam receded, they didn't just reveal land. They uncovered ghosts of a war long past. That's exactly what unfolded in Ukraine as the waters of the Kakovka Dam slowly pulled back, unveiling a haunting scene that felt torn straight from the pages of a long-lost wartime story. There, lying in the mud, were the skeletal remains of Nazi and Soviet soldiers, still clad in their helmets and uniforms, perfectly preserved since the brutal days of the Second World War. For nearly 80 years, these fallen soldiers were entombed beneath floodwaters, their final moments sealed away by time. But now, nature itself has peeled back the layers, exposing a battlefield long hidden from view. Locals stumbled across the haunting scene, bones side by side, rusted gear scattered like echoes of a chaotic clash. No names, no gravestones, just the raw, silent evidence of lives lost in a desperate fight. Historians always knew the Dnipro River region had seen fierce combat during World War II, but witnessing the soldiers still outfitted for a battle that ended nearly a century ago left even seasoned experts shaken. It's one thing to read about history, it's another to see it, untouched and unburied. MP40 found. Imagine uncovering a weapon that once ruled the front lines. What runs through your mind in that moment? That's the reality facing relic hunters and archaeologists across Europe as they continue to dig up pieces of the past, sometimes literally pulling history from the dirt. Among their most striking finds, the infamous MP40 submachine gun.
I'm gonna brush it off now fully.
Buried beneath decades of soil and silence, these relics are more than just old weapons. They're echoes of battles long since faded from living memory. The MP40 wasn't your average firearm. It was sleek, fast, and devastatingly efficient, Germany's go-to weapon for frontline troops. Lightweight and deadly, it was a staple of some of the war's most brutal firefights. So when one of these is found today, mud-caked but mostly intact, it's like uncovering a ghost that's been lying in wait. Every time one of these relics resurfaces, it sparks a wave of awe and discomfort. The cold steel, the worn grips, they're not just artifacts. They're physical links to soldiers who lived, fought, and often died with them in hand. For historians, each find is a page from a forgotten chapter. These weapons don't sit in display cases telling polished stories. They lie in the earth, scarred by war, quietly preserving the memory of those who never made it back. Not every battlefield leaves behind towering monuments. Sometimes it's a rusted gun in the dirt that speaks loudest. Buried World War II, bomb paralyzes Paris. Rush hour turned into a real-life war flashback when workers uncovered a World War II bomb buried beneath the street. Morning commuters just outside Paris were thrown into chaos when construction crews stumbled upon a literal ticking time bomb, an unexploded monster from World War II buried beneath their feet.
This is after an unexploded bomb from the Second World War was discovered overnight near tracks just outside of central Paris.
In a matter of minutes, police locked down the area. Trains between London, France, and Belgium screeched to a halt, leaving thousands of passengers stranded and confused. The sudden swarm of emergency teams didn't just feel surreal. It was a jarring reminder that even after nearly 80 years, the echoes of war still haven't fully faded. This wasn't some harmless relic either. Experts believe the massive bomb was dropped during Allied air raids and was still fully loaded, its explosive power capable of wreaking havoc even now. For decades, it had been lying silently in the dirt, invisible and deadly, just waiting to be discovered. Bomb disposal units worked with extreme caution, each second carrying the weight of potential disaster. One wrong move, and the site could have become a war zone all over again. Fortunately, the team managed to secure and remove it safely, avoiding tragedy, but not without leaving a deep chill in the air. It's one of those moments where history doesn't just whisper, it roars back into the present. Not all remnants of war are locked behind glass or told in textbooks. Some are buried in the most ordinary places, ready to remind us that the past isn't always done with us. Ticking time bomb in Dresden. Chaos struck Dresden in an instant when a demolition crew made a bone-chilling discovery beneath a bridge, an unexploded World War II bomb, lying dormant for nearly 80 years. What began as a routine teardown turned into a full-blown emergency. The moment experts confirmed what they were dealing with, the city kicked into high alert.
We've learned it's several hundred feet of a section crashed down into the river below. We're told other parts of the concrete bridge are also at risk of a collapse.
Over 10,000 residents were swiftly evacuated from Dresden's historic old town. Streets emptied, businesses shuttered, sirens pierced the air, not for a drill, but for a very real, very dangerous threat hiding beneath the surface. The bomb, likely dropped during the devastating Allied air raids of 1945, had sat silently beneath the city, forgotten by time, but still deadly. In a city rebuilt from the ashes, it was a chilling reminder that some shadows of war never fully disappear. Specialized bomb squads moved in with precision and extreme caution. Every second ticked with tension. One wrong move could have turned the heart of Dresden into a disaster zone. After hours of delicate work, the team prepared a controlled detonation to safely neutralize the threat. This wasn't just about clearing a relic from the past. It was about reckoning with history, a brutal chapter that still has the power to grind modern life to a halt. Even decades later, the echoes of war can still shake the ground we walk on, literally. Buried World War II arsenal found at Tokyo School. What began as a routine construction project at an elementary school in Tokyo quickly turned into a scene ripped straight from the pages of history. Hidden beneath the playground, workers uncovered thousands of World War II-era weapons, grenades, mortar rounds, bullets, and even artillery shells, all buried and forgotten since the final days of the war. For decades, generations of children had played above this hidden arsenal, completely unaware of the danger lurking just beneath their feet. As soon as the first weapon was discovered, police and bomb squads swiftly sealed off the area. Every move had to be made with extreme caution. One wrong step could have set off a devastating explosion. Investigators believe these weapons were hastily buried when Japan was facing the threat of invasion, a desperate attempt to hide what couldn't be carried away. The cleanup process was slow and painstaking, as each rusted shell posed a real and present risk. Every piece told a story, a frozen moment from a war that once gripped the entire world. Even in cities rebuilt from rubble and ruin, the past waits quietly just beneath the surface, ready to shake the present without warning. The school will move forward, but the memory of what was found will remain. German tank turret discovered in Poland. 1 minute they're farming, the next, they've uncovered a German panzer tank halfway buried in the dirt. In a quiet field in Poland, a piece of forgotten history clawed its way back into the light. Farmers working the land stumbled upon something massive buried beneath the soil, the rusted turret of a German Panzer III tank from World War II, sticking halfway out of the ground. The relic looked almost frozen mid-battle, hidden for decades by the earth itself. Experts believe the tank was likely abandoned or destroyed during the brutal clashes on the Eastern Front. Over time, the wreckage was swallowed by nature, lost beneath layers of soil and memory. Unearthing it wasn't easy. Crews had to move cautiously, knowing the old metal could be unstable, or worse, resting atop unexploded shells. Every scrape of dirt revealed another scar from a long-forgotten battlefield. Standing over the tank, you can't help but feel the heavy weight of the past pressing down. This wasn't just a machine. It was part of a brutal, chaotic moment in history, now breaking the surface once again. Some relics don't stay buried forever. Some fight their way back, demanding the world remember what it tried so hard to forget. World War II, fighter raised from Russian lake. For nearly 80 years, a Soviet warplane slept beneath a Russian lake, until now. Recently, crews pulled from the depths the wreckage of an Ilyushin Il-2 Sturmovik, one of World War II's most feared ground attack aircraft, long entombed in mud and shadow. Nicknamed the Flying Tank, this Soviet warhorse was a relentless force that helped turn the tide against German troops on the brutal Eastern Front. Recovering the plane was no small feat. It had been swallowed by nearly 80 years of silt and darkness, like a ghost trapped beneath a watery grave. Extracting it wasn't just about salvaging rusted metal. It was like unearthing a frozen moment in history, breathing life back into one of war's harshest, most relentless chapters. Despite its long submersion, much of the aircraft remained surprisingly intact. Faded Soviet stars clung stubbornly to the wings, while the battered cockpit whispered the silent, haunting story of the pilot who fought fiercely and likely gave their life in some of the fiercest battles the war witnessed. Standing beside the wreck, you can almost feel the weight of loss and survival pressing down. A reminder that not every battlefield is marked with statues or plaques. Some lie hidden in the quietest corners of the world, waiting for someone brave enough to pull back the curtain and reveal the ghost's history thought it had buried forever. Stories like this deserve to be remembered. Hit subscribe as we continue uncovering the forgotten. World War II relic triggers German evacuation. The roar of heavy machinery came to an abrupt halt when workers uncovered something nobody wanted to find: a massive unexploded World War II bomb buried beneath a construction site in Ludwigshafen, Germany.
A massive World War II bomb has been safely defused in Dortmund, Germany.
Within minutes, police evacuated over 18,000 people. Streets fell silent, businesses shut their doors, and entire sections of the town stood frozen under the weight of an unseen threat. This wasn't just another wartime relic. What they found kicked off a race against time. Buried deep beneath the surface was no ordinary shell, but a British bomb from the Allied raids, still armed with enough power to obliterate an entire block. Decades may have passed, but the danger was very real. Bomb squads moved with surgical precision, fully aware that a single mistake could turn the cityscape into rubble. The operation dragged on for hours, every moment laced with tension, until finally, the bomb was neutralized. World War II may have ended, but its echoes still rumble beneath our streets. Cities carry hidden scars, waiting in silence, until moments like this remind us that history doesn't always stay buried. Lost World War II. Aircraft unearthed. Explorers scanning the Pacific floor have just uncovered an eerie time capsule, a World War II aircraft sealed inside the USS Yorktown for over 8 decades.
Spooner served aboard the USS Yorktown during 2 of the fiercest naval battles in the history of the world.
Deep in the chilly depths of the Pacific, the USS Yorktown has been lying silent like a sleeping giant since 1942, until explorers decided to peek beneath the ocean's curtain and uncovered something truly extraordinary. Imagine opening a time capsule sealed by the sea itself, untouched for over 80 years. That's exactly what they found, a World War II aircraft, perfectly preserved inside the shattered remains of the carrier. This wasn't just any wreck. It was like discovering a hidden attic filled with forgotten treasures, shielded by twisted steel beams and cloaked in darkness. The plane had been trapped there, frozen in time, as if the ocean had pressed pause on a moment from history and refused to let go. The Yorktown, a titan in the Battle of Midway, went down during one of the most pivotal fights of the war, like a mighty oak falling in a fierce storm. While we knew parts of her story, no one expected to find a fighter plane still intact, waiting quietly inside her broken hull, like a ghost silently guarding the memories of that fierce battle. Every inch of this discovery, the cockpit, the battered wings, the ghostly frame, felt like reading a long-lost diary written in steel and rust. It whispered tales of chaos, courage, and heartbreak, frozen like a photograph of a storm's eye, capturing the calm in the middle of the fury. This find is more than just relics scattered in the deep. It's a bridge reaching across time, connecting us to a past that's still alive beneath the waves. It's like hearing an old song played on a forgotten vinyl, crackling, yet full of raw emotion and power. The Yorktown refuses to be forgotten, and her secrets, like whispers in the ocean currents, continue to surface, reminding us that history's grip is never truly lost. Thanks for diving into these hidden World War II discoveries with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more mind-blowing history finds. Heirlooms concealed within milk cans. It was just another ordinary afternoon for a teenager in Poland, until a shovel struck something solid beneath the dirt. Buried deep underground were 2 battered milk cans. But these weren't just old farm relics. Inside, they were packed with priceless World War II artifacts once owned by an aristocratic Prussian family. Jewelry, documents, silverware, even personal letters, all frozen in time, hidden away as the war closed in. These cans were carefully buried by the family of Count von Finkenstein, desperate to protect their legacy before Soviet forces swept through the region. For decades, the cans sat untouched, surviving weather, war, and the passage of time, forgotten by almost everyone. When the teen finally opened them, the scene inside felt almost unreal. Treasures wrapped in history, whispering stories of fear, loss, and survival. Every item told a deeper story, locked away during one of Europe's most brutal chapters. Historians were stunned. It's incredibly rare to find artifacts this personal and untouched after so many years. But it also raises a big question. How many more secrets from the war are still hidden just beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered? Sometimes the biggest stories aren't hanging in museums. They're buried right under us. The playground panic. It was supposed to be a safe place for kids, until crews dug up live explosives from another era. Near a children's playground in Gloucestershire, located in the United Kingdom, crews uncovered unexploded World War II bombs buried deep underground.
Nearly 200 unexploded bombs from World War II have been found buried under a children's playground in northern England,
turning the area into a scene that looked like it came right from a war movie. The moment they realized what they'd found, police swooped in and shut the whole area down immediately. A bomb squad quickly established a 100-meter safety zone while they worked to secure the site. No joke. Knowing there were live explosives right beneath a playground, that's a total nightmare scenario. It turns out this spot was used for military training during World War II. Over the decades, everyone simply forgot. Parks, houses, everything was built on land, still packed with hidden danger. Luckily, specialists were able to safely remove the bombs before anything went wrong. No injuries, no property damage, just a serious wake-up call for the whole town. It's wild to think that dangerous explosives can stay hidden for nearly 80 years, just waiting for someone to accidentally dig them up. Crazy to think a playground could be sitting on a ticking time bomb, right? If stories like this blow your mind with no pun intended, go ahead and hit that like button. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.